pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The record show all members are present. If there is anybody from the public that wants to make a comment to the board, they will need to go over to the table and read the script and fill out a form to make a public comment. At the end, we will reserve about 30 minutes for public comment, but you only get 3 minutes to speak on your topic. The board will not respond unless the chair allows it. Can I get approval of the consent agenda?
I will make the motion to approve the consent agenda with removal of 3C from the agenda for today.
I'll second.
Okay, any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
I
Aye. Okay, next up, Mr. Wyatt, Director in Planning and Development, public hearing on first consideration of ordinance 2025-03, an ordinance to amend the official zoning map of Potawatomi County, Iowa by changing the district designation of approximately 40 acres from Class A3 riverfront and I don't know where the river's at there, and ag production into a Class 1 I1 limited industrial district and setting a date for second consideration.
I'll make the motion to open the public hearing.
Second.
Discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Chairman Belt.
Aye.
Supervisor Wickman.
Aye.
Supervisor Miller.
Aye.
Supervisor Shea.
Aye.
Supervisor Jorgensen.
Okay, anybody speaking in favor?
Warm it up for you if you like on that. So this is our I-29, I-80 Industrial Park, south of Council Bluffs, off of 192nd Street. This 40 acres lies directly to the east of that property. We were approached by the property owner, Armstrong Development, about this rezoning, this parcel for it. It did go to the Planning Commission in July and got sent forward with a recommendation of approval to the Board of Supervisors.
Anyone else speaking in favor? Anybody speaking opposed? Seeing none. Ain't nobody online. Motion to close.
So moved. Second.
Discussion? Hearing none.
Matt, is there a plan to, partition this, into parcels?
It couldn't be right now. It would have to go to the city of Council Bluffs that lies within that area where the city of Council Bluffs has the determinations on whether or not it can be divided.
So they'll put their requests on it and make sure that it's, if it goes into the water line gets there, they have to annex into the city.
Yeah,
Or sewer line, I mean.
Yeah, so that was the agreement on the original one, was that when sewer gets down there on, I don't know the city, what they have, if they would have plans on doing another agreement like that, allowing into divisions or not.
Aye.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, I watched the planning commission meeting last night just so I could understand more about what this project involved. And one of the commissioners brought up some valid points, and I agree with those thoughts that there is a groundwater table issue down there. And every time we make an improvement in that area, it dumps water in the lower areas that have already been developed. And then I wasn't sure about access to Wabash or to 192nd. So those are just my thoughts. I mean, change, this is just changing the zoning.
They're
So,
really, they're really gonna get, water once Lewis Central starts building that new school down there. So it'd be almost all concrete and raised up, so.
Do you know which way they're coming from, access?
Right now, access is coming through the I-29, I-80 development. There's an easement that's been granted. When you come into the development and you turn to the south, that cul-de-sac down there, there's an easement that runs up into it now to access that rear 40.
Okay.
There are plans in the works to try and seek access to Wabash and or from another area from 192nd Street. So there's a couple of different options that have been kind of presented out and gonna work with the city and everybody on trying to see how that'll pan out.
Roll call.
Chairman Belt,
Aye.
Supervisor Jorgensen.
Aye.
Supervisor Shea,
Aye.
Supervisor Miller,
aye,
Supervisor Wickman.
Okay, now I need a motion or a second to approve the first consideration of the ordinance 2503, an ordinance to amend the official map of Potawatomi County, Iowa by changing the district designation of approximately 40 acres from a Class A3 riverfront ag production to a Class I1 limited industrial district and set the date for the second consideration for
What date do you want that to be, man?
Next Tuesday.
August 26th.
26th. Okay,
Second.
we have a motion and a second. So for the second consideration on August 26, 2025, any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Chairman Belt,
Aye.
Supervisor Miller,
Aye,
Supervisor Shea.
Aye.
Supervisor Wickman.
Aye.
Supervisor Jordan.
Okay, Matt Wyatt, Director of Planning and Development, public hearing and first consideration of ordinance 25-04, an ordinance to amend Potawatomi County, Iowa zoning ordinance, chapter 8, to comply with the new state law regarding accessory dwelling units, commonly known as mother-in-law or father-in-law units, I think, and zoning board of adjustments to remove 8.090.020.01E regarding political campaign signs and setting date for second consideration.
Matt, why'd we throw the political sign thing in this?
So this, and Marion can maybe help speak to this a little bit. There was a case law in there from there that, we had time periods, there was specific time periods listed out in our ordinance. The political signs could be there. We're not allowed to have those in there.
but I think we're removing too much of the language. The way that I read section 8.090.020, signs permitted in all districts. And then it speaks about temporary signs in section .01. And political campaign signs shall be permitted to announce candidates seeking public political office or pertinent political issues. And then it proceeds to talk about the number of days before and after the election, the signs have to be there. But by taking out that entire section, we are not allowing political campaign signs as temporary signs in the county. We can use them in the cities, but we can't use them in the counties. I think we're taking out too much language. Look lost.
No, I'm not lost. I mean, if
You want to see it?
I see it, I have it right here in front of me.
Okay.
If we're not allowed to regulate it, then I guess it could be open to however the board so chooses to do it. I mean, I don't see by taking it out of there as it not being a temporary sign, because if somebody wants to put up a political sign, you're allowed to have it up. It's not really a temporary sign anymore.
You can have it up all year round,
You could have it up all year round, yeah.
any sign you want, whether you think it's political or not.
Yeah, so I don't know that we even want to define a political sign as a temporary sign. But, I mean, if the board want to, we can
It's like
We can try to
flags
go
fall
back.
into the same
We
category.
can try to go back on the drawing board on it and find out some other ways to deal with it, but I don't know that it would be enforceable.
Would that fall under the First Amendment?
There are signs that fall, the language on the signs fall under the First Amendment. You can't really tell somebody what they can and cannot put on a sign. We just had one between neighbors that we were dealing with that was pretty derogatory in nature, and we weren't allowed to.
Yeah, that was way out of bounds.
There was a case that went, as far as the US Supreme Court, and that's when they ruled that the, county, city, whatever ordinances that say you have to have, you can only put them up a certain amount of time before and have to have them down a certain amount of time after the election. I'm talking about political signs, is a violation of free speech. And so that's why you still see presidential political signs around on certain people's yards, because they want them up year round. And the Supreme Court says that's protected free speech, so.
Signs that I usually put up, the property owners basically dictate that they be taken down the day after the election. And I always, that's me anyway, that's how I operate. They're gone as quick as I can get there. But, yeah, I wasn't aware of any, date line for political signs. But certainly I've seen a lot of signs up, basically all year. And I wouldn't want to regulate that process myself either. Eliminating this would eliminate any time frame. Is that correct?
Yeah, it just takes any of the enforcement off of our zoning out of there for political signs. So I don't know that it's an enforceable action that we can take anymore to say that you cannot have a political sign up.
We open the public hearing.
I'll make that motion.
Any discussion? We already had some. Although,
We need a
roll call.
Chairman Belt.
Aye.
Supervisor Miller,
Aye.
Supervisor Wickman,
What, did you set the, 26 for the second?
No, not yet. We gotta have the
We
public
didn't open
hearing.
the public hearing.
What's the?
For public, open up.
Oh, okay, well, I'll do that for you.
Supervisor Shea,
Aye.
Supervisor Jorgensen.
Okay, anybody from the public want to speak in regards to this? One way or the other, for or against?
I can mention the other things on the
Okay.
ordinance here real quick. So, this year, the state of Iowa the governor signed into law for the accessory dwelling unit, aspect of either living in the city or living in the county, to where every lot that has an existing single-family dwelling unit is now allowed to have an accessory dwelling unit. That's one thing when you're doing it in the city, right? You have city services, you have city water, you have city sewer. It's another thing when you're out in the county. Our county group tried to get some language in there, stipulations on a little bit of stipulations on the size of the lots because of septic and wells and what that might do. But they did pass it, so there is no more minimum lot size. We had a minimum lot size in our ordinance already. That minimum lot size is going to be taken out of there. We also had design criterias in there where the ADU had to somewhat match, be built of the same materials that the principal dwelling had on there. We're not allowed to put design standards on there, either. So we had to take those out of our ordinance as well. I do believe that the septic issues we have will somewhat dictate whether or not a lot is going to have an accessory dwelling unit on there. We have if you picture like Wildwood, that's out in the county, right outside of the city limits, Council Bluffs here, small subdivision. The lots are no different than what you would find in the city of Council Bluffs, size-wise. They already are struggling to utilize the septics that they have. They're not gonna be able to add another house with another bedroom, even one bedroom, and think that they're going to get a septic that is gonna work for that. So, but your other lots that are your standard 2-acre lots, that were developed for one home, very well may now allow for another dwelling to be constructed on it. So that was That's the change kind of relating around to our accessory dwelling units. And then as in relation to our zoning board of adjustments, for as long as I can recall, there has been, you had to prove a hardship in there in order to be granted a variance in there. They removed the language of hardships for zoning board of adjustments, and they landed on practical difficulties. You now have to show a practical difficulties. We had always relied that there's a lot of case law around hardships and what it takes to prove a hardship and meet a hardship. And in Iowa, there is no case law yet on practical difficulties. So I've been making sure to speak a lot with our zoning board of adjustment into what that could mean. We did find some language from some other states to kind of help them along with their new decision-making processes that they'll have on what would qualify as a practical difficulty versus a hardship. So those are the other changes in the ordinance as it's currently written.
Any questions for Matt? Anyone else want to speak either in favor or against?
Matt, why do we, I'm kind of confused at why the political signs are in this ordinance.
Because it's in chapter 8 and it's an update to chapter 8.
That would,
Be a standalone deal.
No, our signs are all incorporated in with our zoning ordinance, so.
that, the hardship removal that you mentioned, Matt, is only pertains to the ADUs, not the rest of your zoning.
It relates to the zoning board of adjustments decision-making process
For everything?
for everything.
Well, there's not much we can do about it.
No, I mean, it's 335 chapter from the state of Iowa.
All right, when do you want your second?
August
We got
26th.
We got nobody else who's gonna speak. Okay. We need a motion to, close public hearing.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Chairman Belt,
Aye.
Supervisor Jorgensen,
Aye.
Supervisor Miller,
Aye.
Supervisor Wickman, Supervisor Shea.
Okay, now we need a motion and a second to approve the first consideration of ordinance 25-04, an ordinance to amend Pot County, Iowa zoning ordinance in chapter 8 to comply with the new state law regarding accessory dwelling units and the zoning board of adjustments, and to remove 8.009.020.01E regarding political campaign signs and setting the date for second consideration.
What do you want that, Matt?
The 26th.
I'll do that with.
Okay, 8/26/25, motion Supervisor Wickman,
I'll second.
second Miller. So you'll do some work between now and then, probably to see if there's anything we need to clean up on this at all. No other discussion, roll call,
Chairman Belt,
right?
Supervisor Miller,
Aye.
Supervisor Shea,
Aye.
Supervisor Wickman,
Aye.
Supervisor Jorgensen.
Okay, so has that been not probably been tested in court yet? The hardship part has, but the other one, is that why this flipped?
In Iowa, we don't have case law on practical difficulties, correct?
Okay, not yet.
Not yet.
Okay,
I'm sure it will be shortly.
we don't need to be the test case.
No.
Okay, discussion and or decision on interim engineer to amend the resolution, which isn't a resolution, titled Resolution Interim Engineer Sharing Agreement and or approve a 28E. And it is a 28E.
And Mills County approved it this morning. And I just glanced through it and it looks like the only changes is Mills County's recommending it's a 30-day term, which can be extended as needed. So we'll have to bring this back from time to time. And the price increased from 150 an hour to 200 per hour. And then it looks like they reduced the number of hours from 8 to 6 based on what we approved last week. Those were the changes I just noticed, and I had about 2 minutes to look at it. I don't know if anybody else had any other.
What's the start date?
They didn't put the date in there, so I would assume the start date should be the 19th. So then 30 days, September. And the other thing they didn't, do is okay. Motion to approve 2080 for the interim county.
I'll make that motion.
A second?
Need further discussion? I don't know, since it's a 2080, if we even need to do a roll call on that. I don't believe we do. I think we could just do a voice vote.
Well, the document's written out for one.
Or a roll call.
Yeah, I think they just modeled our
No, because we.
resolution and.
The
copied it in.
resolution is different than, they don't have it marked out in their deal.
No, I think they just copied what we did
Right, but,
last week.
yeah, but it's 2080 and ours is resolution, so it's two different animals. We could do a roll call. Roll call.
Chairman, excuse me, Chairman Belt,
Aye.
Supervisor Wickman.
Aye.
Supervisor Miller,
Aye.
Supervisor Shea,
Aye.
Supervisor Jorgensen.
Yeah. Wayne Peterson, Mark Handwright, John Jerkovich, RMP 87 developer discussion and or decision to extend the TIP agreement. Who wants to
It's okay,
start?
I can-
Do you want to start this?
Yeah, I can start.
Yeah, go ahead.
John Jerkovich called me this morning. He had a funeral and he ended up having to attend, and Mark Handwright also called and he is out sick. So I told him that I would come in and speak to this on there. This is, the development agreement that we have for the RMP, 87 development out there, and it's section A, developers covenants, .1 was, there's a date in there that the developer agrees to cost completion of at least one of the houses comprising of the housing project by December 31st, 2025. Now, we do have one home currently permitted in there, ready to break ground, and we have another permit that is coming in this week for that development. And in talking to John, these were, the development agreements we got kind of came from the attorney firm that we used. And this is our first time going through these on a TIF agreement. Having that initial date in there is a little bit different because Mr. Peterson hasn't received any funding from us. And that's the first check mark of this one. So the TIF has that 10-year clock on it. That's a solid clock. It does not move, right? So even if by extending this date for him, we're okay to do that. It doesn't move the 10-year mark. It gives him less time to collect the potential TIF back for what he expended on this development. He expended the funds on his own. We haven't spent any money on it. So right now, he just needs to get some houses built in there so he can start collecting TIF revenues back for the amounts that we agreed to with him. So that's where we're just kind of stuck at right now, is that we have this initial date in there. And the lots didn't sell quite as fast as what he had anticipated, but we do have one, like I said, we have one home permitted. Mark McKeever's gonna build it. It's ready to break ground on that one. Another permit is coming in this week on it. The developer's already approved the plans for it, and the owner's coming in to get that permit. So we'll have two homes
So
going
we're
up
just
in there.
moving that December 31st, 2025 to
The 26th. next year, December 26th.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second that.
Was the house that's gonna be built, is it going clear at the top of the hill? Is that the
Yeah,
lot?
yeah, lot 6.
Yeah, it's just been, you know, housing and labor costs and materials, and there's a lot of things going on with housing, and, there's a lot of talk about affordable housing, and this isn't really gonna be considered affordable, but it's housing that's needed to allow other people to move up through the housing, whatever hierarchy or whatever you wanna say, so. Things are starting to look like they're getting a little more reasonable on some things, so. We'll see, you've got 2 permits, so that knocks out what do you got, 8 lots?
Yeah, there's
12?
12 lots total down the old house.
Down to 10, okay. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign, hearing none, motion passes.
Thanks, Wayne.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome,
Appreciate it.
go get them.
Thank you.
Rachel Gotcha, correct?
Yes.
Gotch?
Yeah.
Getch. And transportation planner at MAPPA, and Carlos Morales, transportation and data manager, MAPPA, presentation and on overview RPA 18 long range transportation plan.
Good morning.
Good
As
morning.
Rachel gets going, good to see everyone again. We over at MAPPA administer the Regional Planning Affiliation 18. We serve as an administrator for the RPA counties, which includes the unurbanized, so the opposite of urban, portions of Potawatomi, Mills, Harrison, and Shelby counties. Part of that work is that we're required to do federal documents, and one of them is the long-range transportation plan. For the last year, year and a half, my staff has been working through this long-range plan, and we're just here to kind of bookend it and wrap it up and talk through some of the findings, some of the things that we've done throughout this process. And Rachel's going to take over and explain all that. But we welcome questions. We welcome your feedback. Obviously, this is something we take on once, but every 5 years, but it's a continuous process. We're always working through this. Great, thank you. And go ahead, Rich.
So, like Carlos was saying, the long-range transportation plan, and I don't know who's in control of the slides. Okay, we can go ahead and go to that next one. Like Carlos was saying, that's administered by MAPPA, the Metro Area Planning Agency. We do this every 5 years. We're in the current update cycle. This current version is due to IOUT in November. So we're working to get this wrapped up. But just a little bit of a background. So the big goal with the LRTP is to look at, and you can go, sorry, not quite, is to look at those existing status and future needs of the transportation system. And that, with that, to accomplish that, we evaluate a lot of these demographic, economic, passenger freight data and the existing status of the transportation system and other areas that would be relevant, such as like housing, land use, anything that would impact the transportation system. We want to make sure we're taking into account when we're looking to forecast and look at the future needs of the transportation system for the next 20 years. So, okay, now we can go to the next one. So those are our last goals on the left there for the plan we did 5 years ago. That went out through 2045. Our current plan is going to be going through 2050, and we've updated some of those goals to just reflect some of the needs in the region. As you can see, most of them are fairly similar for safety and security. We're just making sure we're emphasizing that. We've got a lot of safety projects that we're undertaking within the region. Some of you might be familiar with Safe Streets for All. I'll get into that a little bit more with some of the Potawatomi County specific highlights that I'll go over later. But those are a couple projects that we're working on for safety transportation options. We want to make sure we're taking a closer look at mobility, connectivity. That might look like trails, that might look like enhanced transit access, and just making sure that residents have access to different modes of transportation. Preservation and resilience, as you're aware, this area is prone to flooding and some severe weather. Want to make sure we're looking at that. Economic vitality, that one's a little bit different from what we've done in the past. We want to make sure that the transportation network is supporting the economic goals of the region, especially in these smaller rural communities that we're looking at. They've seen decreases in population, economic activity. We want to make sure we're supporting any growth there as much as we possibly can. And then finally, we've kind of condensed environment, land use and growth into land use and growth and sustainability to support that connection to other areas of interest that would relate to the transportation network. So land use and housing, those would be two of the big ones we've been looking at. So at MAPA, we've been working on regional zoning inventory, land use, future land use, making sure we're trying to incorporate that into models and our work that we're putting together. All right, you can go to the next one. As part of this, I have included some grant information we went over at RPA 18 at the request of Susan. There's a few different grant opportunities specifically available. You'll see on that first Potawatomi County highlights within your handout. We've got there's a bigger interest in trails within the RPA communities than there has been in the past, and we want to make sure we're supporting that. So I've put together some slides on some grant information. There's 3 different. I've also emailed these to Susan if you have any other questions about that. The first one is the SRT. That's a state opportunity. It's currently not open, but usually that's an annual thing, so it'll reopen again, and those will be due next July. So that's something to keep into account. That's state funding, specifically for recreational trails within Iowa. We can go to the next one. There's also this opportunity, which is just about to open. This was a newer opportunity cycled through last year. It's opening back up again here on the 8th of September, and then it'll close on October 8th. This is a really, really interesting grant because it's federal, but it's which those are usually 80-20 split. So usually the local communities have to pay 20% of that. But with this specific grant, it's 100% federally covered, which means the local communities don't have to provide that 20% grant, which for these smaller communities that are low on funds, but that are trying to do these projects that are really important to their communities, that makes a huge difference. That gives them a lot more access to be able to actually accomplish these projects. So there's some more information in there about that grant, some links and stuff. You can go to the next one. There's also an informational webinar coming up on the 26th if you want to also hear more about it and just look at some more of what that grant entails. Just as a side note, it did, in the last round, it did include multi-community grants, which basically meant multiple communities could come together on a single project and say, hey, we want to both accomplish this bigger project that affects both of our communities. And so they could collaborate on that and just kind of make it stretch a little further. That has been eliminated. And so that's no longer an option for grant application, just as a side note.
Are the grants given to the DOT or are they given right?
They would be given directly to
the
local
grantee?
communities. These are very interesting in terms of discretionary grants coming from the federal government lately. I think there is a window where you could ask for the DOT to be kind of the intermediary, or you could choose to administer the grant yourself. Obviously,
or you would administer.
We can talk about that later. No, but yeah, that would be a function that we might be able to step in. We would have to check in on our capacity to do all this. One of the interesting things I need to really point out on this is that there are 3 kind of levels of opportunity with this. There's a legal component. So if you need legal contracts or starting to negotiate contracts, there is availability to use this to do that. So smaller communities that don't have the legal representation or the legal attorneys might be able to use this to negotiate, say, land swaps or whatever it happens to be. So that's a portion of what it could fund. Another portion that it could fund, and the one I am very interested in pursuing a little bit further with your help and others, is really looking at this preliminary engineering and NEPA clearance, right? So the funds that we manage over at the RPA are strictly for construction. Same with a lot of the state funding and Iowa DOT funding available. It's mainly used for constructing of the trail aspect. Before we get into that construction, we need to do the preliminary engineering, do the NEPA, National Environmental Protection Agency, review and permits, right? Get those all done, and then you're eligible for additional discretionary funding in the future and or funding from the RPA. And I think this might be an interesting solution, especially since it's paid for 100%. So that's one of the things that we're gonna pursue additional conversations with Pot County Conservation and some of the other trail groups in and around the region to look at this and what those potentials are. One of the main potentials we've seen and understood from this last year of work is this connection with the Great American Trail between, Pot County and what's currently being built and extending it out further east. We have that gap portion that we're trying to fund and fulfill. And I think this might be a good leveraging mechanism to get that started. Obviously, more conversations need to be had, but again, the deadlines on these are coming up fast. This is also unique as it's first come, first serve. So once the application period opens, it's being accepted on a rolling basis, and they're doing evaluations on a rolling basis, and they'll be dispersing funds on a rolling basis. So the first to apply, the first in line, have the greatest potential and opportunity to be one of those that gets funded. What we've seen before in the past is these funds go by pretty quick. They're open nationwide and specifically for rural and tribal agencies. So, very great opportunity, something that just came out not too long ago, and something that our staff over at MAPA is really interested in helping local communities apply and or leverage. So that's all I'm going to say on this.
Yeah, no, those are some
Do
great
you
thoughts. So
File the report with the state, or do we?
like the application. So this is a federal grant opportunity. So
Okay,
this
you're
will be
talking about-
either
Filing this RPA?
Oh, the LRTP, yeah,
Oh,
we do it.
yes.
Okay,
We'll do it. We submit it to the state of Iowa, the Iowa DOT, Travis Hom, over at the MP, the local planning division, and they'll take care of it from there.
thank you.
We can go to the next slide. All right, and then one last one that we'll go over. This is actually a regional grant opportunity. This is specifically an RPA 18 funding source. So this is something we'll open a call for projects in October. This is for transportation alternatives, also called TASA or TAP. We've got currently have a surplus of those funds available. And I know some of the other RPA 18 counties, they're kind of revamping their trails boards in Mills and Harrison. So there's a lot of renewed interest. So we're really hoping to take advantage of this. The only current Potawatomi County projects we have currently programmed for TASA funding is this multi-use trail along the railroad highway. I believe that was given 200,000, and that's currently programmed for FY 2026. But we'd love to get more projects in there. There's a lot more that we can do with this funding. And, there's potential to make use of different funding sources between these different grants and just get some of these projects completed and built into the region. All right, and we can next one. And these is just a list. Feel free to go over some of this information later of eligible project sponsors and projects that are available for that funding source. All right, next one. All right, so this is the timeline for the plan. We're working on plan updates. through this month. And then we presented the draft LRTP before the RPA 18 committee, policy board and technical committee. They approved that and opened the public comment period. That's currently open now through through September 8th, at which point we'll collect all and any public comments that have been received, incorporate that into the LRTP as is relevant, as well as taking into account any of Iowa DOT's comments that they've sent back to us from the draft. And then we'll present the final LRTP to that same board in October before sending it up to Iowa DOT in November. All right, so that's some of the high level stuff. Gets into some of the Potawatomi County specific highlights. Some of the things that we highlighted throughout the plan that are relevant to Potawatomi County, kind of falling into these different categories. So I'll just go through these really quick. Currently SWITA through SWIPCO, which is RPA 13 in Southwest Iowa, provides some door-to-door service across rural Potawatomi County. Just as a reminder, this is for rural only, so it excludes Council Bluffs, Carter Lake, Crescent, and McClelland. Those 4 cities are not included within the RPA 18, but everything else within Potawatomi County is. We've noticed this is really important for older adults, non-drivers, especially those of lower income within the community, which has been really important within Pot County specifically. And then also we're trying to take a look again, like I said, at these different trail opportunities and make sure we're making trail connections. Carlos mentioned the Great American Rail Trail and efforts that are ongoing on that front. We want to make sure we're supporting those efforts as we are able. All right, and then roadway safety and SSRA planning. You guys might be aware, I mentioned earlier, the Safe Streets and Roads for All. That's a federal grant opportunity. We did, on the MAPA side, we're doing an RPA 13 and 18 project, which only covers a few of the cities within the RPA that were excluded from county plans because they were over the population threshold. But the counties themselves put together plans called safety action plans, also called SAPs. And those were just published in July. So we're collecting all those plans and we're going through them and trying to figure out, okay, how can we best incorporate what the county needs and what they're trying to do in regards to safety projects, because now that they're in these safety plans, they're eligible for safety funding on both the federal side and just in general. That makes them it makes it a lot easier to get funding to support those projects. So we're currently working with our team and with leadership to look at, okay, what are important projects that will increase safety with the highest impact, lowest cost within these communities and make sure we're supporting that. So that's something we're kind of in the looking over what is included in the plan and saying, okay, how can we support this? So once we've kind of pulled together some of those projects that we think really fit that bar of high impact, low cost, and that we feel like we're able to support, we'll reach back out and try and get in touch with how we can move forward with some of those. When it comes to infrastructure, freight and resilience, you guys might be aware, obviously, it's rural county. There's a lot of agriculture, a lot of commuter, a lot of freight. The roadways, especially the local ones, are not designed for that kind of traffic and that kind of weight that is coming from the freight and different agricultural vehicles and just the commuter traffic that's ongoing. Particularly we've got some key corridors, so that's Highway 6, I-80. We want to make sure we're supporting that roadway preservation and especially the bridges. We've seen a lot of bridges that are aging without clear plans to replace them or to maintain them. And those could be potential safety and just cause greater costs in the future if they aren't addressed now. We want to make sure we're trying to plan for that long-term infrastructure, especially including those gravel and connector roads. Additionally, in regard to resilience, we want to make sure we're looking at the Missouri River floodplain. You might be familiar, Iowa DOT recently, I believe in 2023, they put together a resilience improvement plan, also called a RIP. They identified key areas within the state and across the state that were significant concerns and risks. And one of the ones that would like within the top three, I think, was the Missouri River corridor and the flooding that occurs along that corridor. Obviously, that would impact Potawatomi County severely. You guys have seen the impacts of those flooding within the county. We want to make sure we're planning for that. That includes maintenance, that includes design. Are we planning for these events? Are we making sure that there are, even evacuation routes established? All of those are included within this resilience work. And that is all, there used to be a pot of money on the federal side that was available to accomplish some of those projects. It was open last cycle. We're not sure whether it's going to be open in the future just because of administration changes, but we're hoping that that also becomes available at some time in the future. So we want to make sure we're planning for that. And if nothing else, like these problems aren't going away, we still have to plan for them. So I want to make sure we're taking that into account. That last one, yes, next. We've got land use and growth patterns. Because the area is primarily agricultural. However, we are seeing a big development influx in certain areas, and maybe not doesn't seem super big, but within these smaller communities, it can it's a lot bigger for them because of the impact on those smaller communities that even a little bit of development would cause. So we're seeing that spillover, particularly Trainer, Underwood, along I-80. We even, I've noticed that's caused some different safety concerns because you have families coming out from the metro area. They're not used to different patterns of rural traffic. I was recently out at a Safe Streets outreach event, and there were concerns about these kids that were on scooters that are used to just going on sidewalks within the metro area. And there aren't any sidewalks, available where they live currently out in the rural county. And so that's been a safety concern. Stories like that we're starting to hear. We want to make sure that we're trying to plan for these developments and for families moving and just that continued subdivision and industrial development within these communities. That really has a big impact on how we're looking at the land use and housing portion of this, and trying to just take a look at how that would impact the transportation network and how we can work that into our projects and our plans for future work. And then finally, we did do some public outreach for this. As part of that, this is actually our last meeting. So after this, our public outreach will be concluded. And through those, we came out with some of these, and I think it might be on the next one. Maybe not. Yes, it didn't make it in there, but it's on your handout. There's 6 different areas that we wanted to highlight and make sure that we're including as local priorities for Potawatomi County specifically. That includes maintenance of rural bridges, local roadways, addressing those flood-prone infrastructure that's specifically in regard to those roadway segments and culverts. Safety concerns. There's a lot of issues with speeding, narrow lanes, lack of shoulders. We're hoping that hands-free law that was recently passed in Iowa might help support some of that safety work. There's that expanded interest in safe trail and walking access, specifically around these smaller towns, working to support these trail development. And then rural transit options for these older and lower income residents, as well as supporting the economic growth along these metro adjacent towns and especially along the I-80 corridor. So we want to make sure we're supporting all of those work, or incorporating local concerns, local priorities that have been identified by stakeholders and residents within the work that we're trying to do and plan for within the next 20 years within the region. But yes, so that's what we got for Potawatomi County. If you have any questions, we're free to take those. Otherwise, you can also reach out to us later. I've got contact information up here.
Rachel, thanks for the presentation. You had mentioned the outreach that you were doing, and I suggested at our last meeting that they also do outreach at the county fairs. It's a great opportunity for people to spend time and to answer the questions as opposed to a farmer's market or something that's a little shorter in time frame.
Yeah, and we definitely did take that into account.
You did, you just do the one at the library here, or did you guys do something else somewhere else?
We did, there was a bike workshop we did, there was a Harlan event that we went to, and then there were also county-specific events that we attended. I'm trying to remember what it entailed.
Yeah, we had a little bit of staffing changes throughout. I think last time you may have seen Mia here presenting. She in the middle of some of this outreach left, which required us to shift focus and do a lot. Fun times with staffing. And so we didn't do as much engagement as we wanted to. Again, this is more of an update. I think the next cycle, we're doing this every 5 years. We're learning every time we do it. One of the key things that we did learn from the RPAs, they suggested going to the Board of Supervisors, which was where we were trying to engage. And so this next time we're taking into account, we want to do more in-person engagement opportunities, right? And it's a balance, right, between staff availability and being able to attend and go to every single one of the county fairs. So we might be a little bit more judicious at times, depending on the interest in how staffing goes, but definitely taking it into account. We did try for a couple of these to engage in local community events, to hear from the public about, like, it is a very difficult thing to think about what happens in 20 years, right? Almost 20 years ago, we didn't have a connection between Council Bluffs and Omaha. Just to give you a perspective, right? 20 years ago, the Bob Carey Bridge was not built, or was just starting to be imagined, right? So there's a lot of things that can change in those 20 years, and we're trying to ask people, what do you see into the future, right? So it's a very interesting, thought-provoking experience. And I think overall, some of the things that we're diving deeper and trying to look into is what does the data say? What available information do we have? And one of the things that we've looked at have been some of the demographic projections and some of the demographic things that are going on. And overall, I think this is more of a general comment. We don't tend to see a lot of growth in terms of population. The growth in the population has stagnated in many of these counties, right? Some of the urbanized areas are where we're seeing the most growth, but some of these more rural communities are not seeing that level of growth, right? We're seeing more of a contraction, right? With both older generations not being able to continue some of the growth patterns that we've seen in the past. So it's interesting, and trying to provide transportation and connections for people, right? Not every rural community has access to a hospital. So as we age, we know we need access to hospitals more and more. And so having those access points, whether it's through SWITA and their services or a taxi-like service, is very important to a lot of members of the community. And very interesting to hear about this ADU and the land use, because some of the stories we've heard in doing some of the investigation on land use has been that for younger generations, that's a security blanket, right? I helped my mom move out of Las Vegas and come into the metro region because I was afraid she was getting older and I wasn't close to her. And so this proximity, being able to take care of our elders, is very important, and something that needs a little bit more attention at times, right? And so those are some of the deeper, more profound questions to look at. But definitely open to additional comments. Yeah.
And as part of that outreach, we did do a survey, didn't get a ton of responses back from it, but that did supplement some of those priorities that we included.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Okay, Steve Winchell, Chief Deputy Sheriff, and John Cool, Lieutenant Sheriff, discussion and or decision to review and approve school resource officers agreement. Gentlemen,
Appreciate it.
morning. Morning.
There you go.
Hi. What are you gonna do?
I don't know. I didn't know if you guys had questions.
Well, yeah,
So,
agreements are expired.
yep, so we sent it in June and 4 of the 5 got it on their July agenda. So 4 of the 5 have responded. Found out yesterday that for whatever reason, one of the districts didn't get it in their July board meeting. They're gonna do it tomorrow, talk to the super. So that will be signed tomorrow. So I haven't put it on your guys' agenda because I didn't have all 5 signatures back yet. So we're waiting on the one.
Did they get their grant money then?
Yeah, no one has said that there's any indication that the money's not gonna come.
Okay.
So I have no indication of that.
What do we do with the increased costs? If you just, if you just look at the salary increase of that, SRO, that would add $650 to each school just to cover that. And I think that, in that agreement, it kind of mentions that, board will evaluate that every year, and I think we need to do that. Otherwise, we end up putting ourselves in the same position that we're in with our service to our towns that the sheriff, we haven't increased those for, who knows, we're so far behind on those, we'd never catch up. And, I think if there's additional costs, the districts need to cover that. So, that, my recommendation would be if you just take the $20,000 commitment from each school and add the 3.25% that this individual received in a raise, that would add $650 to each school. If we don't stay on top of this and do it, we're pushing the costs of a school resource officer to the people of Carter Lake, Council Bluffs, Crescent, that don't receive a benefit from this program.
Well, I would disagree with that. So both of our school resource officers, for example, are on our SWAT team. So we were just called to Carter Lake, we had a hostage situation, so they provided a service outside of the schools. In addition to the 3 months that they're not in the schools, they're working, they're both of them, one's a fire instructor, one's a DT instructor.
I'm just talking about the cost that it is for them to be in the school. That's what I'm talking about, Steve. Now, what they do outside of that, there's no benefit.
Combined. And the 100 pays more than what their salary is. So
Is the salary of this particular person is like 98,000.
I looked this morning, it's 90,300.
There's only one? I thought,
That's,
Yeah. One is paid for by the schools.
okay.
which, I don't really agree with that either, but, well, I took his, hourly rate and took it times 2080. Hourly rate is 44.75. That's, I was wrong on that. It's 93, but I mean.
90,362. So
What number are you using, Steve?
out of Tyler, what he was paid this last year.
I'm looking at what he's being paid at July 1st.
Okay.
I mean, he did get a raise, right?
There's 2 of
Yep.
them.
Yep, and
We're
one's
not,
one's
we
paid
don't even
for
get the, we
as a
don't even
position.
get paid for the other one.
Okay, I didn't know whether we were mixing the 2 of them.
No.
Okay.
No,
Steve, remind me, the 2 officers, okay, one is paid by the schools, districts, and how's the other one paid?
So, back in 2023, if you guys remember, Sheriff came in, briefed you all. COVID changed the way the courts are run. We had an extra position in the courthouse. The sheriff chose to move that position into the schools because it's badly needed. The reality is we need one in every school district, but we don't have the funds for that right now. So the sheriff chose to move one of that position out of this courthouse into the schools. So he operated himself, was run ragged. So the schools, like, we need another one, found out there was this state funding. So the schools agreed to take 20 per to cover the vast majority of the county cost to get a second person in the schools.
Say this, I've talked to a couple school district superintendents.
Yep.
Out in the rural area. They very much appreciate it.
Very much so. They're doing wonderful work in the schools. Yep.
I'm very much in favor of, doing whatever we need to do to keep these projects going.
Yep.
Is there any efforts being made to contact our legislatures to increase the funding to these SROs?
I don't know that, not to my knowledge.
So you're gonna come back next week or the agreements?
I can send them to you for received and filed. I don't know why I wouldn't need to come back, but
Well, I mean,
nothing's changed.
we need to, well, we have to sign them.
Yeah, we're waiting for that to happen tomorrow, so I can send them over to you guys so you guys can sign that, but nothing changed in the agreement. I've already talked with county attorney.
The school started it,
So-
some of them, right?
No, you can't start school before the 23rd. It's a new law. It's gotta be after state fair and 23rd.
So there's not going still, is it?
Everybody starts no, state fair was done.
That's what I thought.
So everybody starts on Monday, 25th, because you can't start before the 23rd. So,
Okay. Reason I thought that was-
What do you want to do with the increased cost? I think we should invoice every district, $20,650.
Well, is the same person in there?
yeah, same guys.
Okay.
Yep. But they do, I understand what you're saying, Tim, but what I'm trying to communicate is they do many other things for our agency on top of their SRO. So to change a contract now over $600, I don't think-
600 becomes 10,000 5 years from now, Steve. So it's okay with you if we tax the people of Carter Lake for this?
yeah, they get a benefit from these officers.
No, they don't. Not in the school.
Yeah, we can revisit that next contract. I don't suggest we change it right now.
You're saying close to 3 months are on regular road duty and
All of June, all of July, most of August. Yep. They train with
2 weeks
us,
to Christmas.
firearms instructors, DT instructors. Yeah. They've been working the road this whole summer, so.
I would be willing to eat these costs this year. But as you talk to these school district supervisors, can that be mentioned? That as costs increase, their costs might have to increase. I mean, is that a possibility?
Yeah, and to both your points, I'm not saying I understand what you're saying, but what I'm saying is for the 25, 26, I don't want to have to go back to the school districts and redo this all over again.
Well, it should have came to us first, Steve. We should have talked about it here first. The contract's with this board, right? We have to sign it. It's typical.
We won't need to, we won't need to do anything because, we don't have the agreements yet, so.
I make a motion to approve as standing on these contracts for this year.
I'll say.
And eat the costs. Is that what you're saying, Brian?
That this year, yes. 'Cause I do agree with them about the 3 months being doing other things.
That's why we don't get the entire cost of that officer either. There's more to that.
We've got the contracts already signed on 4 of them, correct?
Yep, last district has a school board meeting Wednesday, tomorrow night. So,
Yeah, I'm not.
I think
I'm
we've
not-
entered into it.
I'm not open to negotiate all of that at this point.
Yep.
But again, I mean, they have to be aware. So.
Yeah, next year, looking at this.
There was no changes in that, right? Except for the dates.
Yeah, 24, 25 to 25, 26. Yep.
Okay, same document.
Yep, same.
Okay, did legal review it by
Yep.
chance? Okay. Any other discussion?
I think we need to take it back to the top of the state, push for more legislative funding for it.
They would take 3 more today.
That's.
Oh.
Yep.
Well,
Badly needed.
they'd probably take 3 more teachers today too, if they could.
They would.
Well, I'm not opposed to having sheriffs in this school, and if this school, Underwood School wants to tax me for that, I'll pay for it. I have a hard time taxing everybody for it. There's people outside this county that receive that benefit that paid nothing. We've talked about this before, and it just doesn't seem to register.
It's been 3 years. I've never had one person say otherwise. I've never had one person approach me about it. Not one.
Oh, so unless they say something, we just keep taxing. There should be representation for taxation, shouldn't there, Steve?
Sure.
Okay.
Okay, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, like sign.
Aye.
Carried. So, motion passes. Okay, Becky Linehan, thanks, gentlemen. Becky Linehan, Finance and Tax Officer, Auditor's Office, discussion and or decision, reappropriation of funds from Human Resource Department 50 to Risk Management Department 49, and to sign resolution 4925 regarding said reappropriation.
Good morning. As
Morning.
you're all aware, the risk management just, was broken out from HR. And so we need to, for the code, do a reappropriation of what was budgeted for, risk management so that he has a budget.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Discussion. Hearing none, roll call.
Chairman Belt,
Aye.
Supervisor Shea,
Aye.
Supervisor Wickman.
Aye.
Supervisor Miller,
Aye.
Supervisor Jorgensen.
Aye.
Okay,
Thank you.
thanks, Becky. Moving right along, Peggy Becker, Administrator, Veteran Services discussion and or decision on outside storage for the Veteran Services.
Want to get an outside storage container, put some tables in, and with our flag retirement ceremony, we're gonna have burn pits that only some place to put, so.
Yes,
Looking
Becky.
at a container,
Yeah, one of those,
ugly things.
we can paint it.
you're talking permanently, right?
Yes,
Did you talk to the city about that?
it can't be an eyesore, which is why it's going back by the dumpster.
Who used the word eyesore?
Actually, Dave Hazelwood did. When we
Was
talked
he work
about
for
it.
the city?
No,
I don't think that's
so
the rules.
it's gonna go back by the dumpster.
If it's temporary, I don't think,
I did talk with Jason in Building and Grounds, and he doesn't have an issue where it's going. I assume he would know if it was appropriate or not.
well, no, we're allowed to do that when we do construction, to do stuff, but you're not allowed to, I don't think, have those as permanent.
My original contact was him for a lean-to against, cement wall where the dumpster is.
Mm-hmm.
But he said those are broken into easily, that I needed something a little more permanent. And it's 20
We got a beautiful building there and stuff, and I, putting a container is not probably the best thing to do with that building, even though you try to decoy it with the dumpster.
Yeah, I agree with you, Scott. That building's been fine for years. I don't know why do you need to store tables and chairs? Don't we?
He said we're having more outreaches at the facility itself.
I thought we bought the van for that.
The van is outreach to our clients. These are outreaches we're having at the facility to bring in vendors to reach out to our clients more and more as well. It's community involvement.
I would think we would want to look at, we'll have to talk to Matt and see what type of trailer could be used to store that. I mean, they do that already, the 712, and then with chairs and tables and being able to move it around and use it where it's not, looks like it's, we're turning into a railroad yard with storage containers. And I'd want to check with the city to be sure that if you're gonna do it permanently, I don't. Sure, but they get loosened up their rules over there.
Now, what about Avenue C?
I mean, see,
What about Avenue C?
we still got that, don't we?
Yeah.
Well, Jason did offer a 40-foot trailer that's at the sheriff's that is empty right now, but we have no way to haul anything,
All in.
like our burn pit. So when we do our burn pits, those are gonna be hatches and
Yeah, but where you gonna haul them to?
from storage to our parking
Right,
when we have
we
that.
got 4 trucks outside here.
I was
Oh.
trying to increase the usage of building and grounds to haul stuff for us.
They haul stuff all the time. You know, how often are you gonna burn?
Once a year,
So they gotta haul it once a year? Seeing that being a big burden, but
I mean, I can look into alternatives. I'm still open to the lean-to against the dumpster wall between the juvenile detention and our dumpster wall. Attach it to that, because it doesn't have to be huge.
And you think the city will approve that?
It's not visible from anywhere.
you're pretty visible, trust me.
Well,
coming
down that way,
coming
yeah,
down
but
that-
not back where the
Coming down that
dumpster is.
expressway.
Yeah.
The expressway is gonna come down, so it's gonna get even more visible.
Where they were before, but I'm talking about back by the dumpster.
No, hey, I get it. Just think there's probably a better alternative. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, I think we need to look into some other alternatives. And take another look, make sure that's something that you even really need.
What do you think? A different trailer? What? Or the
Well,
lean-to?
I mean,
What?
it's been there for years and, you know, they've had the Veterans Administration for as long as the county's been here and I don't know, I mean, that's a nice building there and, they just bought all that those new chairs and furniture and stuff. I just really don't see the need for it, based on this conversation.
And you're talking, what chairs are you gonna store?
The more vendors we get for our annual outreach, the more chairs and tables we have to provide, because a lot of the vendors don't bring their own tables and chairs. So. And we have the ones that are stored inside, but we don't have a lot of storage space inside.
I would like to stop down, and just take. There can be ways to make a storage facility.
Yep.
Acceptable feeling.
That's why my initial contact was about a lean-to on the other side of the dumpster wall, which is in between 2 buildings and it's not visible from any street. But Jason said those are broken into easily, which is what brought the container up.
I don't know, the people set up the farmer's market with tables and have all kinds of stuff going on there. They do it every Thursday. Somebody picks stuff up and puts stuff back out.
I just wonder if there's some way we could store them in the basement of the courthouse and use buildings and grounds to transport them back and forth when you need them once or twice a year. I know you don't like to be reliant on other departments, but other departments may be able to use the tables too. Just a thought.
You're talking tables and chairs. How many tables, how many chairs?
That would probably increase over the years, and if they got damaged or anything like that would change. So I think this first one we had, even though we instructed everyone to bring their own setups, we had to provide, 5 to 10. I'm not exactly sure how many. And then we used our indoor tables for those that we had to provide. Instead of the plastic tables or foldable tables.
Yeah, I think even rent the tables would probably be less expensive than building up or bringing in a container to store them in.
You want to get those lifetime tables and they're gonna last forever and they give you a new one if you screw it up. They're made of plastic, they clean off. Sell them at Sam's, Home Depot, and round ones, square ones.
Yeah.
Long ones. You can make chairs out of the same stuff. They're almost, indestructible unless you're really trying to do it.
Right. Right now, we have no place to put them. We have no storage in our building.
I didn't know we were gonna have to furnish those people that type of stuff.
Well,
All
we've only
the
had
big
one.
stuff I go to that are having whatever open houses or, events over at the park and stuff. Everybody brings their stuff and sets it up.
You're right. And they should have this last time, but
Well,
they didn't.
well, maybe they shouldn't come.
And we
They
didn't
didn't
know
want-
how the
they wanna
morning
be
after
seen.
they did. That's why we had to improvise and use our indoor tables. I mean, every email they were sent, their registration they were sent, it said, bring your own tables, chairs, tents, whatever you want here. And yet that morning, we still had them show up and they had nothing.
But we can't fix that.
Good. So you wanna get back on bring this back then? You guys wanna meet, see what's.
Yeah, I'd like to get all your options that you'd be looking at.
Okay.
And I'm just come down and see what the needs are. I'm open to
Okay,
options.
not a problem.
But we put it back on the agenda back, or, Peggy. Get over there, see what's going on.
I can do that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next up, Jeff Franco, Executive Director, Conservation, Kim Wickersham, Office Coordinator, Conservation, presentation of Conservation Department Annual Report for fiscal year 24-25.
Thank you.
Morning, everybody. Thank you for making time on the agenda for us. As you know, there's a requirement for the Conservation Board to provide an annual report to the Board of Supervisors. So that's what we're here to do today, providing our formal annual report that will be posted online as well. We presented this to our Conservation Board last week at a meeting with some comments from them, and now we're presenting to this board as well. With me today, representing the Conservation Board, are Jerry Mathias and Chris Ruhak, and Kim, who's kind of the mastermind behind the report itself here, Kim Wickersham is with me as well. And so I just want to quickly go through this report a little bit, and it's a format that I hope is familiar to everybody from last year as well, starting just kind of with organizational highlights, a letter from the director, which is something that Mark started before me, Mark Shoemaker. I did this again as well this year. Financial reporting, which I'd like to touch on at the end of this, and then move forward with just touching on some highlights through the annual report as well. And so from a marketing perspective, which is really how people hear about County Conservation Board, what we have to offer, the face of our organization really is our website for most people and our social media outreach. And so we start with some of that right here, where we just kind of, again, lay out the high level details from that perspective, which, as you can see, if you look at that top graph, skicrescent.com, which is Mount Crescent, or now it's currently Crescent Hill at Hitchcock, receives the bulk of our visitation, although the numbers for the rest of our parks, the rest of our activities that we do as well, our countywide programs, receive good numbers as well. They just look dwarfed in comparison to the amount of traffic that is received at the skicrescent.com website. Down below that, you can see that most of our social media traffic is through Facebook, although one notable item there is that our Instagram traffic is increasing, kind of indicating that we're getting a younger crowd that is looking to different avenues besides Facebook as well. So we are actively looking at all of the different social media outlets and adjusting our outreach through those avenues as appropriate. We flip over to the next page, we can kind of just touch on the educational highlights as well. You can see we've got an excellent balance with our public and private programs here. I think one of the key takeaways for us as a department is that most of our programs actually get people out to our parks. We go into schools, which I think is very important. We do some things that are on site, different places. But one of our primary goals with our education department is to get them out to our parks, to learn about what we have in our parks, the ecosystems that we have, help them make that connection through education. Transitioning over onto page 9, the bottom there, we have our volunteer hours. This is one of our bright spots in the report. Last year, we had just under 10,000 volunteer hours. This year, we had nearly, well, over 14,000 volunteer hours. Significant increase, which when we look back at that, how do we explain that? Certainly kind of with the exposure that we've had through a variety of different things, whether that's Mount Crescent or Crescent Hill, some of the regional and local awards that we've won for tourism as well. Really, people are starting to notice county conservation, Potawatomi conservation, understand what we're about, and they're looking to be a part of that. We're seeing that reflected in our volunteer hours as well. We flip over to the user fees, and again, very high level. You can kind of see that we're still, and this just represents parks proper, not Crescent Hill at Hitchcock. So you can see we're still very seasonal. The spring and the fall are our peak times. We certainly see those decreases in the winter months, and that's kind of reflected as you go through the camper counts at the different parks as well. You flip over onto page 12, where it kind of breaks down the camping a little bit with that, and you can see that we've got an excellent distribution of regional attendees, whether that's people from Nebraska, people from Iowa. The farther you go east into the county, you get a stronger percentage of Iowa residents. The farther to the west, you see that you see a stronger percentage of Nebraska residents that are visiting our parks as well, which I think just goes to show that we serve the largest metropolitan area in the state with our parks, with our services. And so we're going to see a pull from that entire area in here, and it's reflected in the numbers that we're seeing as well. Park memberships on the backside there, again, strong showing on page 14 with that as well. And then you can also see kind of how revenues were broken out at Crescent Hill and Hitchcock also. At this time, I'd like to flip back to the financial reporting, which is on page 6 here as well, and just kind of give a high level overview of this as well. And I think one of the key takeaways that we brought into this report last year was kind of the economic analysis. We've had the Iowa County Conservation System. They have been able to provide kind of a measurable economic impact based on our parks, Potawatomi conservation, what they're having on the local community. And one key takeaway that we want this board to recognize is that, from Potawatomi conservation, kind of the traditional departmental aspect of this, not including Crescent Hill at Hitchcock, the total tax investment on this was about $2.4 million. The economic benefit to the local economy, per the third-party analysis that was done at the statewide level, drilling down into Potawatomi County, was over $8 million in economic impact, which for every $1 invested by this county into our parks is a $3.35 return. And so at a high level, just touching on some of those touch points there, that wraps things up a little bit. And then certainly, I guess it's worth mentioning the financial reporting up top with revenues between kind of the parks proper, the expenses parks proper, and revenue with Mount Crescent last year, transitioning to Crescent Hill, and the revenue there as well, with the balance provided for each one of those also. And I think an important aspect here is to recognize that we had we had $935,000 in expenses last year, and our revenues were nearly $600,000 over those expenses. So a very good year at Crescent Hill as well, and we're looking forward to another good year as well. So any questions from this board on that? And then after some of those questions, I think Jerry or Chris, if they'd like to say something as well, I'd like to encourage you also.
Hey, cows at Hitchcock, when are you gonna have buffalo up there?
So Yep, elk, bison and elk, certainly part of the long-term plan up there. But as you know, there's a land acquisition plan that the county's been working on since 1997 to expand Hitchcock Nature Center. And really, it's gonna make the most financial sense. We'll spend our money the wisest after that, after the bulk of that land acquisition plan is completed. So, that's really up to the landowners, if they're willing to work with us and when they're willing to work with us on some of those acquisitions. So hopefully within the next 15 to 20 years. How about that?
Oh, I have a few.
Sure.
Yeah, okay, here, that month, okay, usage. of the first month,
Sure.
Page 7.
Page 7.
So you're looking at March first day, usage starts to go down. April, May, June, July, August, low points.
Mhm.
And this is, the blue is Mount Crescent, is that correct? Ski facility?
That's skicrescent.com. That's the one.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that facility really needs to become a Four Seasons facility.
Uh,
Right, am I right, Mo?
I think sustainable development there is gonna be very important, and Four Seasons is certainly part of that.
All right, now, are all the costs, is the county compensated for all the costs? Are you aware of some of the things that we've been informed of?
Mhm.
That the county doesn't receive all of the compensation, doesn't receive compensation for all the things that we do for Mount Crescent. Are you aware of that?
So what specifically do you have in mind?
They're county employees, insurance.
Mhm.
And then the cost of, hiring these temporary employees, is that compensated? Because that takes a lot of time for, our auditors.
So
our Human resources.
Yeah, I think that's a good point that you're bringing up, Jeff.
Because the cost that we were told,
Mhm.
$146,000, that wasn't seen as being compensated from Mount Crescent facility.
So where did that number come from? That's what I haven't heard.
Independent, Mary Ann, you were aware of that? You here at that time? There was a independent auditor that reviewed our.
Jeff Lorenz.
Oh, probably.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and he just brought it up to our attention there because he was looking at how things are filed for things.
Okay.
What cost.
Sure.
Compensated and so forth. He said there's cost involved not present that we're not compensated for at this time. Now, he's not saying there's anything wrong. He
Right.
just said, at this time, we're not compensated. And he brought it up at the county employees,
Mhm.
the insurance, for these county employees, because they are county employees. And then again, the cost of hiring these people, the conservation board does not have a human resources. Right, and so again, I mean, you're not aware of that?
So I think this has been brought up to me before. I think there's some details here that I'd like to make sure we're clear on. One of those, when it comes to the insurance of employees, which employees are you talking about? Our full-time employees or our seasonal employees?
These are the temporary.
So insurance for the employees,
This is what this is.
Yeah. I'm unaware of insurance that we provide. They're covered to a certain extent with portions of it, but from a health insurance perspective, that is not provided to those employees. Our full-time workers do receive that, but their costs are covered by the user fees collected. And yeah, I think that'd be good for us to discuss further. I think when it comes to our payroll, and there's internal departments that support the conservation board and the conservation department. And this is, Crescent Hill at Hitchcock is a government entity. It is run by the conservation department. And so this is part of what the county does. So I think it's important to recognize that as well. Almost all of those fees are covered by the user fees that are collected. Now, when it comes to specific support provided by IT, for example, I had this conversation with David Byer, I believe here, and almost all of their hours that they put towards supporting Crescent Hill, which is a few hours every year for sure, are absorbed within the regular 40-hour work week. So there's no additional costs other than supporting the Conservation Board that it would be supported in any other way as any other department would be supported as well. So I understand it's an enterprise fund. People want to separate that out, but really this is an entity of Potawatomi County. It's run by the Conservation Department. And as we can see, we had $595,000 over the expenses this year. Now, if there's overtime that's incurred by some of these departments, I think that's something we could talk about, but I'm not sure how much overtime there actually is incurred by this and what additional costs are being absorbed by the county as a result of supporting this enterprise, which is something that, as everybody that I've talked to, is something that's a very good thing for this county. I think it's important to remember that after year one, we did the analysis on this, where 120% of our operating costs came from 80% of our users, which were Nebraska users. We took those Nebraska dollars, we pumped them into this, put them in those dollars primarily in the pockets of the workers there that are predominantly Potawatomi County residents, and those Nebraska dollars go into our community. This is a very good thing that way. So there's other intangibles, I should say, that can be measured, but we're not currently measuring right now that we should be considering as well with this.
If we were to lease. At least,
Sure.
those costs would disappear. I mean, whatever entity lease one person would be involved in hiring insurance for those employees would not be a county employee at that point.
Mhm.
And then the county would start receiving. And, restaurant, hotel, motel taxes.
Sure.
Facility. So at this point, how is Potawatomi County compensated for actually buying Crescent from the conservation?
From the Conservation Board. Well, we're certainly reimbursing some of the investment that was made, right? We've got an agreement with this board.
The initial investment.
So from some of the developments that were made out there. From the initial investment, I think this is another thing that's very important to understand, is that the initial investment to purchase the land, and I've given several talks on this in the last few months here, and this is something that maybe gets lost in translation with this, but this was really about buying 106 acres of Les Hills landform that expands Hitchcock Nature Center. It's one of two Les Hills landforms on the planet. It's the only Les Hills landform on the planet that still possesses its natural characteristics, making this the only Les Hills landform on the planet that still possesses those natural characteristics. It's the only place on the planet like that. Hitchcock Nature Center is dedicated to promoting an awareness and an appreciation of the Les Hills. That's what this purchase was really about. We've expanded Hitchcock Nature Center several times, and we've never asked the Conservation Board or Conservation Department to pay that back because we see the benefit of expanding that park and offering that to our people and what it does bringing people to this county as well. So I'm not sure, we can talk more about it. I mean, I think there's discussion to be had. Yes, I know where you stand on it. I want the full picture to be shown here is really what the benefit is. And when it comes to protecting those natural resources and running the business, in my mind, it's hard for me to identify another entity that would be able to do both of those at the same time, as well as the Conservation Department has been doing it the last 3 years.
Okay, then the risks involved actually operating these schemes.
Yes.
Let's talk about it.
Sure.
Okay, what do you see as the risks?
So it's a good question. I understand there was a public comment made a few weeks ago by somebody who said he worked for the National Park Service, and he brought up the example of somebody sticking their fingers up a hand dryer, and they got sued for that. It sounds like after review by the county attorneys, he may have been mistaken on a few things. After that comment, I wanted to make sure we had our ducks in a row on this. And so I worked with Matt Wilbur to perform a review of what our legal liabilities actually are. And I think even the Daily Nonpareil published this as well after the fact, Matt's findings. I guess one of the comments that was made was that the state provides exceptional protections for a government entity providing recreational resources from liability, from litigation, from somebody getting hurt during those activities. I believe Matt said something along the lines of, I've got more concern about somebody walking into the courthouse and tripping and suing the county than somebody going down the hill and getting hurt doing it because of the protections that are provided, because the waiver that we have and how we enumerate the risks. With the way that the state code is written, we're actually very well protected on the recreational side of things.
I'm gonna say, I understand the waivers and you take it upon yourself to be responsible if you're gonna ski down the hill. But the one risk that is involved,
Mhm.
that doesn't qualify is minors. Minors can't sign their own waivers. Insurance protection. And I've seen the injury reports,
Mhm.
Up there at Mount Crescent. There are a lot of minors that have been injured there. So in that instance, how does that work out?
Yeah, so that's why insurance is there. There's also insurance that's specifically for that entity to protect us from some of that as well. You're right. There is some exposure there. It's just compared to most of what the county does, it's very, very limited. And so that's what insurance is for. We pride ourselves on getting young people out there, getting active outside, experiencing the Loess Hills. Our injury reports are very consistent with industry standards across the country. So we're not experiencing any higher injury rates than any other ski area necessarily. We're very in line with those. And so all of that combined makes us feel pretty comfortable using that. Now, if we were to lease this as well, I think it's important to understand that as the county would be leasing this, we'd also be named in any litigation. That lessee would be leased, so would we. And so there'd be exposure there as well.
Well, and then one of the things. Responsibilities for the insurance. I mean, it's county insurance that insures Mount Crescent, is that correct?
So
I mean, we pay a reasonable amount of insurance cost
there is some, yeah,
because we have a low incident rate. But a skiing facility is not a low incident rate for injuries. I mean,
Right.
There's no way that that's going to happen. It's higher than other businesses. And if we start reporting more insurance costs involved in injuries, our insurance goes up exponentially.
yeah, if workers are injured on the job, something along those lines, that could be the case. But injuries to people on the hill, that's something that we're protected from and that our insurance would be protected from as well, generally speaking, from a guest standpoint. Is that what you're talking about?
From what?
From a guest standpoint, people that are
Well,
using the hill versus
yeah,
working there?
yes, yes,
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
I don't, I don't wanna go, we could have a study session on this. You wanted to review the.
Yeah, understood.
report.
Thank you, Scott. Jeff,
I'd
I
rather-
You
appreciate it.
understand why?
I'd rather-
We will talk
Certainly,
about it.
I think we have a study session on it. There's some other things they need to, probably have discussion with. I don't know if Jerry and Chris wanna speak,
Yeah,
so that we can.
yep, certainly would. Jeff, I would like to say thank you very much for your questions. I appreciate your interest in this
Yeah.
and where we're trying
Just
to
so you
go.
know.
They do need to be addressed. I appreciate the time you let me respond here. Jerry and Chris, is there anything you'd like to say?
I just got 2 or 3 comments, just very quickly. One is we appreciate your support of our mission. The mission is in this annual report, and we take that very seriously. We want to thank you for taking it seriously too, all across all of our parks. So we really, really appreciate that. Second thing I wanted to cite was one of our biggest achievements of the year. I know it's mentioned in here, that effort to make that 4-year or 4-season plan out there. And I think it's something we're excited about. I know our employees are excited about, and I think people in general are excited about. My third point, I want to thank, Jeff didn't mention it, but I'll take it from here. The support and hard work of our staff and our volunteers. You saw those volunteer numbers. It's really incredible that there's that many people around all of our parks that support our efforts and our mission. And finally, don't forget about the Go Wild event coming up early this in September. Don't forget that. That's a big fundraiser that helps support our parks as well. Again, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
When are pancakes?
Oh, yeah, I love those pancakes and the maple syrup.
Yep, number 6.
Yep, it's coming right up.
6, yeah.
Jeanette, send us a meeting.
I took my grandson down there, last year, I think it was, or maybe the year before. And I put in the donation thing, but I don't think that it paid enough of all the pancakes that 8-year-old ate, but, cause they were really tasty with that maple syrup. Thanks again for your time.
Yep.
Thanks, Jerry. I have to concur with Jerry about your support with our county conservation. I think I'm sitting on 17 years on the conservation board. And, we've always had great success with support from our supervisors. And that, it starts there and flows down through the staff. We have great staff. We couldn't do what we accomplish in the positive nature and impact to our area residents and visitors without your support and our amazing staff. One note, when we decided many years ago that we wanted to try to get a hold of the ski hills, I was unsure about that purchase. But what I wanted to make sure when we did that decision, that it was going to become a 4-season. And so that will happen. And we have great support in that aspect. You know, all those visitors that we have, additional visitors, and I don't know that I'm sure we have some numbers that maybe aren't necessarily shared from the previous owner to what we have, but we certainly have increased tremendously. And all those increases, remember, all those people, majority of them are from other states. And they're coming over here and they are spending additional funds, not just at our park. They're spending it at the Casey's and Crescent. They're spending it at the steakhouse or the bar. That there's extra tax come in, sales tax that come into the county that dwarfs anything else that we are expending. So I want to make sure that and I appreciate, Jeff, you asking those questions because it only makes us better.
Yeah.
And what we do.
I appreciate your.
So with that said, thank you very much.
Well.
Thank you for all coming in.
Thank you for the time and support, everyone.
Audrey.
Yep. Yeah, Andrew Mullins,
Great job on this.
reporter, and Jeanette Johnson, executive assistant. Discussion and decision to approve and authorize the chairman to sign new lease agreement with Quadient USA for a brand new courthouse postage machine. Wonder when the mailman's going away.
Jeanette sucked me into this again, so I'm helping her.
Threw you under the bus.
Yeah,
Oh, we actually met, 2 weeks ago with Mary Ann, Andrew, Jenna, Conservation, because those individuals on this floor are probably the ones that utilize the machine the most. The treasurer's office have their own lease. When Jake came in, he had a request for a new folding machine and the copy or the postage machine. And we decided that the folding machine wasn't something that we really thought we would utilize. Conservation is probably the one that's using it the most. I know
we didn't see a need for an
we didn't see
upgraded
a need
machine.
for an upgrade for that. The postage machine, we do believe has some pluses to it, that would save some time for a lot of the departments, especially like Andrew's department when it comes to passports. They have to go through a series of buttons to push to make sure that they're getting those passports with the correct amount of postage on them. And this would be a lot simpler.
Yeah, so the upgrade to the postage machine in the proposal is really just about the user interface and experience and making it easier for all the departments to get the full functionality out of the machine.
One of the things that they will do, which we will address for all of the departments that use it, is they will come in and do training. And this postage meter will have a capability of having like smart buttons on it, where you can pick a button, which would say like passports. And they would pick that button, and then it would calculate what the postage amount would be on that machine for the postage that would be needed. So any of the departments, if they have special things that they're mailing out, it can do not just the US Post, it'll do FedEx and like overnight items also with this function.
This is our existing company, right?
Correct.
Correct.
So what's the difference in the rate?
What was it? A little over,
So quarterly, right now, we're paying $1,776. The quarterly rate would be $2,186. So $410 every quarter.
They haven't set up a spot, it's monthly rate.
yeah, I think that's how the lease shows, but they bill us on
They
a
bill us on
quarterly
a
basis.
quarterly basis.
Yeah, so it's a little over $130 increase a month.
Okay. Then we pay postage.
Correct.
Jeanette expenses, the
Right.
departments reimburse. Yeah.
Well, 5 cents.
It's, what is it,
78.
78?
I think it's 78.
3 cents.
Keep track.
I know.
So that just says forever on it.
We do get a little bit of a discount on ours.
Yeah,
So who's this get billed through? The board?
yeah.
Well, I appreciate the time you guys took to research this. Your recommendation, we pursue it.
It is.
I'll make the motion to.
I'll second.
Any further discussion?
The cost was $21.90. That come up.
Quarter?
Cents.
Yeah.
That in your budget, Jeanette?
In the board's budget.
Other questions? All those in favor say aye. Those opposed, like sign. Hearing none, motion passes. Mary Ann, introduce the auditor, discuss and decision to approve and authorize board to sign resolution number 44-2025 entitled the designated voting representatives for the Iowa State Association of Counties. A whole new deal. So this is what they sent you back, Mary Ann, I think.
So yes, so just to recap from last week. So in November of 2024, last year, the ISAC membership approved an amendment to their articles of incorporation to put the organization, to position the organization for an updated tax status with the IRS. And so to that end, they are trying to clarify to the IRS that it is the counties that control, act, and vote on ISAC matters. And the articles of incorporation were amended to have the boards of supervisors designate voting delegates through a resolution. And so they provided the resolution. Jeanette very kindly put in the appropriate names. And it says, as required by our articles of incorporation, ISAC's articles of incorporation, they are requesting an approved resolution of the voting delegates for our county. It's for IRS clarification.
Yeah, they got some kind of trouble. Yeah,
I'll make the motion to approve.
Second.
second. Any other discussion? Roll call.
Chairman Bell,
Aye.
Supervisor Miller,
Aye.
Supervisor Jorgensen,
Aye.
Supervisor Wickman, Supervisor Shea.
Aye.
Thank you very
Okay,
much.
you're welcome. Thank you. We can hand deliver it to them if they want. Suzanne Watson. The state give you a new job description?
No,
Okay.
this is yours. So this is new job description for general assistance. So in the transition, Jamie Lorenz moved over from a position in community services to being the general assistant caseworker 1. So we've been
She's been doing a great job so far, officially started July 1. And so we just took a little bit to craft a new job description to go along with her duties. I am taking over a little more of the oversight of general assistance. We're currently working on getting things tightened up a little bit, making sure that people who come in have a good experience, that people are being treated the way we'd want to be treated. So we're really currently in the process of making a list of what works well and what doesn't, and how we should be doing things different. So I would imagine in the next quarter, we'll have things shored up a little bit and a way to engage others, so we're not getting so many phone calls and it's not taking so much of our time. Because we're sending people, unfortunately, around the community a lot to get services, and I don't like how it's done. So we're working on it.
What's the current grade on that?
12, 512.
What's the current now?
The person doing it before was a supervisor, and that was a 526. It's a significant change, but she was pretty much running the whole program. I was pretty much hands off. So,
But when you look at the general assistance budget, majority of the salary of the person that ran that came out of your budget.
out of the general assistance budget.
Now,
Correct.
now we,
Oh, because she was also doing stuff for the region.
Right.
You're correct. About 60% of her time was general assistance. The other was covered by the region. So it's still, at this point, it's still less. My intention going forward is to have fewer calls coming in and then transition Jamie to doing some additional services, hopefully for the disability access point. We're just not there yet. There's some things we have to get figured out and transitioned over, but it will, I mean, you can expect the cost to continue to decrease, so.
will that, what is the first step in 512? Do you know?
I know,
Okay.
I have so many numbers running through my head, I would not even want to guess.
512 is
1876, I'm just gonna guess, I don't know.
You have that off the top of your head, Mary?
No, I can just guess.
I guess it doesn't say.
So it doesn't say in the job description, I looked. That's okay. It's still poverty level.
Well, yes.
Anything below $25 an hour is poverty, pretty much.
Yeah,
Okay.
Jamie's been here a long time.
Yep.
What do you want? Should you want a motion to approve that?
Yep, just need the caseworker one approved,
I'll do that for you.
please.
Okay. Okay. The only thing I would say is it seems like general assistance is getting used quite a bit.
There's a lot of need.
Yeah, and the rents aren't going down. And our payments are going up.
Well, we have a cap on rent.
No, I know, but I don't know what it is for sure,
Yeah.
but I see people getting 1,000 and I see people getting
Those are usually 2 months.
supposedly.
Yeah, I think our,
Or deposit in rent. 700 is pretty usual.
yeah, and we don't do deposits anymore. That program
We
ends
don't?
July 1, yeah.
Okay. Okay, any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, those opposed, like sign, hearing none, motion passes.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Sam,
And we'll get you an update on that. Hopefully, we have a few things going on. So
Yeah,
hopefully in the next quarter, I'll be able to give you some updates and
is Kelly Garcia still over?
Yep.
Okay. Jeff Franco, Executive Director, Conservation, and Mary Aldridge, Human Resource Assistant, Human Resources Discussion and Decision to approve Snowcat operator position and job description.
And everybody,
point.
job description was sent out.
I've got it. You can have
So
one.
this has an update in it also.
An update
One-
on what we have.
One omission, there is.
We
One
like
omission
changing
is
things
caught
at the
this
last
morning. Well, this was a copy paste there that just needed to be put back in, I think so it was. Nothing substantive. There you got it. I think
this is the
Also-
new position.
So this is a role that had been filled. It was covered by our snowmaker position. What we've come to understand is that we've likely been missing out on good snowcat operators because it's been lumped into that position with some of those duties, and pay that was commensurate with the snowmaking duties as well. So we've realized that it's probably more beneficial, advantageous for us to break out that role as it's becoming a more prominent role at the ski hill, and then make the pay more commensurate with the heavy equipment operator as well. So we did create the Snowcat operator position. We had the previous HR director contribute towards the creation of this position. She helped us do the homework on this. She reviewed the job description, reviewed the potential pay for this position as well. She signed off on this and thought that this was the right move, given that she's been so involved with the process as well. So we're bringing this to this board for kind of review and approval by you guys, and any discussion or question you guys may have also.
You're not putting me in the step and grade then, right?
No, this is a seasonal position,
What's the pay range for this position?
$23 to $25 an hour.
23 to 25?
That's correct.
Part-time, right?
It's likely part-time. There may be some, I guess, it's a seasonal position. There may be some weeks where they work 40 hours that would be considered technically full-time, but oftentimes it will be a part-time role. And that pay rate is commensurate with kind of the lower end of the range for the recycling center. There was a heavy equipment operator that was just a job that was created out there. That is on step and grade. We've gone with the lower end of that. We also looked at several other ski areas, what they pay Snowcat operators. We're kind of at the lower end of that range as well, given where we are and the role that we'll be asking them to fill.
Are you posting this? Do you have somebody in place?
We have people that operated the Snowcats last year that would like them to apply again, but we will be posting this position. We could use more of them. Again, we feel that the creation of this position will allow us to get more applicants as well.
Is that your recommendation too, Mary?
Yes.
I'll move that.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those, on the same sign, hearing none, motion passes. Okay, Mary, you're up again. Colleagues and the Human Resource Assistant, Human Resources, discussion and or decision to approve locked-in agreement. One, agreement to extend the agreement for June 1st, 2024 through May 31st, 2026.
Yes, just an amendment to the term and through the through date. So it'll be now May 31st, 2026 instead of the May 31st of 2025. And I did have legal review this and we cleared it through legal.
Very good.
And the agreement stays the same. It's just that through date that changed.
Yep.
No increase.
You do not believe so? No, the agreement stays exactly the same.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Take the recommendation to approve that.
All right, thank you, Mary. Thank you. All those, are any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Hearing none, motion passes. Okay, discussion on hiring county engineer.
I asked last week if we could put this on the agenda for discussion. And we need a path forward. It's been 90 days since we have been without a county engineer. And I'm glad we've got an interim in place as of today for 30 days anyway. The DOT has provided lots of guidance to our board for review. And I know you guys have all read it, but for the sake of those online, I just want to point out a couple of things. The county engineer position is one of the most important in the county. Secondary roads are generally the largest item in a county's overall budget, and ours for this year is $23.793 million. Selecting a qualified county engineer is important since this is a position which is very visible to the public. And the county engineer position is unique because the board assigns a professional to have the responsibility of a department. Most other officials in the county are elected. And the board should be familiar with the duties and responsibilities of the position and the applicant's attributes and professional skills before selecting the county engineer. Right now, we've got, I'm gonna guess at least 4 employees working out of class to cover the vacancies of 3 people. We don't have a county engineer, we don't have an assistant county engineer, and one of the longtime project managers is gone. We need a department head to approve personnel changes. That was one thing that the Mills County, the interim position carved out, that he would not be involved in any personnel changes. We have 5 vacancies right now besides the engineer and the assistant engineer position. We can't hire those positions without a department head. There's no one to address union matters. If there's a grievance, if there's consideration, if employees have any questions on union, there's a gap that exists today. We can't let any new projects through the Iowa DOT without a full-time county engineer in place. I think when we posted the job, we limited it to a licensed engineer by the state of Iowa. And I think that might be limiting us. I think we may need to look at that requirement, and maybe our MAPA professionals here can help with that. If it can be a civil engineer who can be licensed with the state of Iowa, but maybe not at that time. We reposted the position through CareerLink back in July 24th, and I haven't received or been notified that we've gotten any new applicants since then. There's just a lot going on, and we as a board haven't talked about what our plan is to replace the county engineer. Short of posting the job, we have interviewed 2 people. I gave we could hire a consultant to assist any engineer that we would hire should they not be familiar with county engineering. I gave that information to Scott. There is a person that has created his own consulting service that was a prior county engineer. And he has offered, if we need him to mentor or to help guide our new engineer, that he would be available to do that as well. I just want us to talk about it. What are your thoughts, Jeff?
Well, it's important we get this job filled. I think we, maybe it's been posted again.
It was last posted July
Okay.
25th.
Are there any other places we could post this? I think there's a lot of people that would like to move up the ladder. Potawatomi County, the county engineer would be a move up for a lot of people already in the business. And I think that they just haven't been aware that Potawatomi County is looking for a roads engineer. So, this is where I'm at. I think we need to find more ways to make this position.
And when the DOT posted or gave us these guidelines, they've got like 10 different sites in here for.
I think we need to post it as broad and wide as we can. Because there's got to be people that would, engineers that would be credible and be looking to move up. Potawatomi County certainly didn't. But we interviewed 2, and I was impressed with both. But the one lagged, I think lagged quite a bit. So, for this position, so that's where I'm.
Consultant.
Consultant. The guy got back to you in regards to want to do that then?
He did not want to have the position. He did.
Right, but he said to do it, last I talked, you said he was gonna think about it, and I didn't know that he started consulting, I guess.
Yes.
I missed that.
I thought I sent that to you, but I may not have. But that's his general offer of what he would be willing to help us with.
We need to post it, get it out there more.
Well, we put it out, put this on the agenda and, you know,
What on the agenda?
this here, this
Well,
consultant.
that's just a consultant. I mean, he could serve, we could ask him if he'd want to serve on the hiring committee. If we wanted to have like our road foreman and one of our project managers and have this individual be our hiring, and whether we have one or two board members on that.
Well,
But-
by the code, they're gonna work for us, so it's pretty incumbent that they know who they're gonna work for, and we're the board. And if we're gonna follow Iowa code, they're gonna answer to us. So someone else hired them, and then them coming in and not being able to answer to the board is not gonna work.
Well, it would be similar to any of our department.
No,
head
they're not in the
positions.
code. They're not in the code like the engineer is. The board, the engineer answers to the board. The rest of them don't answer to the board. They're not in the code.
They're not in the code.
Right.
Okay.
And they don't have to have a certain amount of being a civil engineer. But I think most of the states around us have reciprocity with engineers.
Did we just post this on one site?
Should have went out, in today's world, it should have went out everywhere, you know. And I don't know why, Indeed, or who all of those folks are out there that put it out there.
You guys want, I'll follow up with Mary, make sure it gets posted everywhere and still open, so we get more sites in. You know, if you guys are all okay with it, you know, maybe you'll try to reach out to a couple other engineers just around the state and say, hey, would you consider applying for this? If I don't want to get out of my lane, but I think it'd behoove somebody to reach out and try to direct people towards the application and, you know, the opportunity and some of that stuff. If you guys are okay with that,
Well, they need
Do
to,
some of
it
that.
needs to, I mean, it goes without saying it, I mean, there's, I don't know, oh man, there's probably 24 engineering companies across the river. Most of them are, quite a few of them are located over here too, and it's a civil engineer. And there's 8 or 9 counties that don't have engineers and haven't had them for a long time yet. So, I mean, the DOT and their threats with federal and this, that, and the other, I don't get it, but we'll get down the road with it. Civil engineers, the guy that went to Missouri Valley for a month, took the civil engineer test, passed it, they hired him. He was an electrical engineer, and he's found out that the job wasn't, civil engineer wasn't what he was wanting to do. He wanted to be an electrical engineer, so down the road he went. So,
It does take a specific skill set.
Yeah, I
Well-
don't speak to any of the hiring sites outside of LinkedIn, but because I'm the admin on our LinkedIn page, it has been posted there. The only inquiries or applicants we've gotten so far have really been recruiters. But it is at least trying to get it to more of the avenues that I can.
Thanks, Kate.
And I'll chime in if I can, just a little. Yeah, we'll look into some of the requirements on the MAPA federal functional stuff and get answers to you right away, Susan and others. One of the specific functions of this county engineer is pushing forward the STIP and the TIP function that happens about once a year and any amendments. So making sure that you receive and or expend some of the federal funds is a part of this position, it sounds like. We'll double check if that's something a consultant might be able to do in the interim while you fulfill your full-time hire. And we'll get back to you. We'll just double check with Iowa DOT if that's permissible. I know other counties and other places have done that in the past. Just want to double check on my answer before fully committing. And then 2, it sounds like this is a very big, broad scope in terms of jobs. Just knowing there's operations side to it, right? And dealing with unions and the union contracts can be very taxing and doing all those negotiations is a special talent than just signing off on plans and doing some of the financial work to ensure, like, it's a lot, right? Having the soft skills to be able to hire, fire, and respect union contracts, and also doing a lot of the financial aspects of it. Really take you away from the day-to-day grind of, yeah, we have to mill and overlay or look at pavement conditions. Those are very interesting subject matters, in my personal opinion.
I'm okay with Mitch trying to reach out
Fine, we can, well, I mean,
and do that.
As steering towards the application, basically, type of deal.
I did talk with Mary and there were a couple of sites out there. I think she did a little bit of work and I really haven't talked to her since then, but there really isn't a lot of other options out there that have the number of views or hits or on the site like Indeed does. So, and all those cost money and I mean, where we're at right now, there's no way I'm gonna approve anything like that. So maybe we ought to ask Barry to come in and do a little quick research and let us know what some of those things cost. So if we need to put them on some different sites, we can do that.
Do we have any idea what Indeed costs?
I don't.
I am.
I don't know on Indeed. I know when I was looking at potential promoting options on LinkedIn, it was anywhere from $120 to $180 a day. We're only allowed to have one free job listing on LinkedIn. And so right now I have it as the county engineer, but that means that I can't have the HR director position posted. Otherwise we would have to pay for that one.
And I don't think it's been posted with a salary. And I think that would be a helpful guide.
yeah, always post them with some salary range, but we have some more HR applicants though.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I do.
I think the application closed on Friday.
so how many we got?
About 20, I think.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Yeah,
Good.
14 came through with all the qualifications.
We need to get, I gotta get to the link, so, can you continue to talk this, or you want to do your board committee update for last week?
So we're just going to,
Just put it on the agenda, have Mary come in next week and put that on there too.
Maybe we can get to work. You need to put a salary range on it. I don't think the board's anywhere close to a salary range. Couldn't get anything approved at the last recommendation, so. Board doesn't know where they're at.
that's why we need to talk about it, so we do know where we're at.
Okay.
I think we need a broader reach. And if, I feel like $150
Last time.
a day, if that's what it costs, I mean, we're looking at 150,000 plus salary. I just don't see that as an impediment to reaching out.
The longer the position goes unfilled, the more risk we have to the county.
I agree.
I appreciate everybody taking time to move it forward.
Okay. You want to, Jeff, you got anything you want to talk about?
Well, I attended the Southwest Iowa Juvenile Detention Center meeting. Last week, it's quite going on over there. Very thankful for our maintenance department and Jason Slack for operating their security measures over there. Very, very appreciative of that and needed to happen. So, it's a work in progress, but they're okay. So.
Conservation, quite a Pot County tourism out at Iowa West. Stopped out at some of the cities. And then went to the Crescent Hill Night Sky event, which was really cool.
Tim?
Attended WIDA, MAPPA RPA 18. I went to the Council Bluffs City Convention Visitor Bureau's brand reveal and Unleash Council Bluffs is their new logo. So I don't know where that leaves the county. And Donny Days, that's my big deal on Saturday.
I just had, oh, what's it called now? PCCP or something. It's, multi-county. It's part of Thriving Families. That was about the only thing I had. So we got any public comment?
Yes, Mark Shoemaker.
We got two or we got one?
Oh, good.
Yeah, I didn't sign up, but
Okay,
if I go ahead, I'll fill out the form, whatever.
yeah, please do. Sorry.
Forms are on the table.
Well, thank you for the time. I just wanted to come in. I noticed some things on the agenda. Glad that the county engineer's issue is moving forward. It was good that you have an interim engineer now. I know it's important to get someone on board and I appreciate the efforts that you're making to do that. Also coming in to listen to Conservation's annual report and that updates. It's always good to hear the progress and know that it was left in good hands. I mean, I worked for the county for over 30 years. We were all at that time, starting out in nature, we were kind of in our own silos, doing our jobs. But over those 30 years, culture evolved into a county as a whole. And we started realizing we all impact and can benefit from each other. I understood early on that to be successful and have employees that wanted to be here and enjoyed working, that communication, cooperation, teamwork with all departments were the keys to that success. Today, you can go to almost every department and they're back in their silos, keeping their heads down, doing what they need to do just to get by and avoiding contact, confrontation, and limiting interactions with members of this board. This board has gone from a we mentality to a me mentality, me disability. And it's truly disheartening because there are so many good people working here that want to serve the people of Pottawatomie County and make a difference. I can't begin to understand what's going through the minds of our leadership, but the days of the me mentality, I run this county, I know what's best for this county, are coming to an end. Unfortunately, we have 16+ months of this mindset to deal with, and that's hard to comprehend knowing what damage has been done and what could be done. People are waking up. People are paying attention. People are getting tired of the direction this county is going. When people have asked me about my favorite and least favorite parts of my job with the Conservation Board, hands down, my favorite was building an incredible team that cared about this county and the people of the county. My least favorite was the politics, but it was and is necessary to be politically savvy. Ironically, and regardless of that dislike, it is my intention to get into politics and will be running for county supervisor in 2026. People need their voices heard, people need to have their values respected, and people need someone to work for their county. The me and I reign of this board is coming to an end. Your voice, your values, and your county is on the horizon. And I will put this county and the people of the county first with integrity, transparency, teamwork, and thoughtful common sense. And I just want to thank you for your time. And those that are going to ISAC, I hope you have a good experience. Thank you.
See you.
Thanks.
Thanks, Mark.
Thanks, Mark.
Next up, Doug.
Going to be really, really short. We saw an interaction earlier today with the sheriff's
Staff. Three words came to my mind. I felt it. Oh, did you get it?
I did not.
Sorry, I didn't state my name and where I was from.
You filled out a form though, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. It's in there.
If you want to state your name and address, I'll work with you afterwards.
Yeah. Doug Irwin, 49 Parkwell Drive, Council Bluffs. So after that interaction, three words came to my name, or came to my head. Embarrassment, unprofessional, and weak leadership. That. Something out right. Motion to adjourn. I'll move. Second. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Adjourn.
I'd say